good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're watching from or where you're joining me from. My name is Olabode Hibitola, and I want to say again, thank you for joining me today. Thank you for always commenting, for always sharing, for always reacting to my update. And if you will be watching this conversation as a replay, I want to say thank you too for taking our time to watch as a replay. But before we begin, I'd like you to kindly share this show, invite your loved ones, invite friends, invite sisters, invite brothers, uncles, aunties, especially that this today's edition is in commemoration of the International Women's Day. So, and the day is set aside to recognize the achievements of women in various phases of life. This ranges from cultural, political, also to socio-economical phases. As much as achievements are celebrated on this day, it's also a day that is set aside to pay attention to some issues that are facing women or that women face, some prevailing issues such as sexual and domestic violences and abuse, such as gender inequality, such as reproductive rights. It's also a day which attention is shown to those aspects of humanity, human aspect of humanity, let me put it that way. So it's indeed a good feeling that these things are beginning to come up and women are beginning to break the barriers. And I want to remind us of the aim of this show, which is to inspire and reassure people that they are not alone in this journey, whatever situation that you find yourself. Be sure that you are not alone. There's someone who has walked through that path or who is walking through that path that would be able to show you the way or to tell you this was how I managed it, that I became successful, or this is how I'm managing it at the moment, and things are not really that difficult. So that's the aim of this program. Once again, this is a reminder to invite our friends, invite our loved ones, invite everyone that you care about to join us in this conversation. If you have any question, please put down in the comment section. We'll do well to attend to the questions. And if we are not able to attend to the question during the course of this conversation, we will definitely attend to the questions after the program. We hope that we have enough time to do that. Thank you again for everyone joining. Thank you, Oluwatosin. Thank you, Adimola. Thank you, Ibukun Oluwa. Thank you, everyone. I want to say that it's a good feeling to have you people around, Yeah. Now it's almost time to bring my guest on. Are we ready? But before I bring my guest, I want to say something about her. She's Mrs. Olabode. She's an intentional living coach who is passionate about living a life of purpose, especially in women. She helps women thrive in purpose and to maximize their potentials so that they can bet the greatness they carry to the waiting world. And that's why she's popularly known as the Purpose Midwife. Are we ready to have Mrs. Olabode here? Because I'm so excited to have her. All right, Mrs. Olabode, are you ready? I guess our viewers are waiting. We cannot all wait to have you. Okay. In a bit she will be here. She's saying hello already. We go.
Hello.
Thank you for coming here. Thank you for accepting to be here.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited. I was so looking forward to this. So thank you.
Wow! I'm so happy to have you. Thank you for creating time. I know that you are very busy. Engagement here and there, and you still find time to be here. Thank you so much. Okay, how is BC today?
Beautiful as usual. The sun is shining. I want
I know
so
you
you
want
can
to
be
say
jealous.
beautiful. Okay, oh, I'm listening. The sun is shining.
The
Okay.
sun is shining. It's just so beautiful. Like my husband and my son, they just went for a walk now because it's so nice.
Wow. Beautiful British Columbia. Also,
Colombia.
anyway, we have our own friendly Manitoba. But I think it's more of a good thing to be friendly than to be beautiful. So,
I hear you.
so it's better to be, I think it's more, unless we can combine the two, beautiful and friendly.
And I
Thank you
think we
so
can.
Yeah, it makes the world better for every one of us. Thank you for being here today. So let's quickly go to the business of today because I know you have other engagements. And you are the founder of Olabode Mentoring Academy. Can you share with us the inspiration behind that vision?
Okay. Mentoring Academy. So what happened was last year, it was dropped on my heart last year because I remember every time I go for speaking like engagements, a lot of people often ask me, "Oh, do you have any way that you can mentor us? Do you have any way that we can, that we can learn from you?" And so I put it down. Sometimes you're not ready. You feel like you have not grown to that level. So I just kind of wrote it down, and then towards the end of the year, so I was a goal to start at the end of 2021. So I'm so excited that come 2022, it was like, okay, let's go, let's do this. And really, what the academy is about is a place, is a hub. I call it a hub of growth. It's for people to, because often we need like an accountability partner to help us grow. You want to achieve this goal, you want to achieve that goal, but sometimes you're like all by yourself, you might fall by the wayside. But when you have somebody on your case that is saying, no, what was that thing you said? You set in place. Guess what? Your challenge. So it's really a hub whereby like-minded women, we come together, we challenge ourselves, we have like book of the month, we challenge ourselves to grow. You set those goals, you are going to have to follow through with those goals.
Okay, thank you. So that's it is it meant for women alone or everyone who is interested? Because I just say that it's Olabode Mentoring Academy.
It's correct for women.
I know you are.
I have this deep spot for women. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Maybe we may create a men's one, but for now it's just women.
Okay, I think the women are beginning to gain more ground. It's not just the men's world any longer. Okay, so if you are a woman there and you need someone who can push you to become who you really want to be, if you need someone who you want to be accountable to, it's not that a lot of us don't want to do business, but sometimes we just need that push. And this is Mrs. Olabode here. She's willing and ready to give you that push. Thank you so much for that. And let's go to the International Women's Day, which was recently celebrated 2 days ago. And I want to ask, how is it relevant to that academy? The Olabode Academy.
The relevance of it is that if we cannot, we're talking about breaking the bias. I believe that breaking the bias starts in the mind.
Okay.
Which means that the way you see yourself is what determines whether you can even stand up to your fellow women or to men. This can be in the workplace, this can be whether you're in politics, you're in media, you're in any, I would say almost any sector. So if you're not prepared to show up, guess what happens? If you're not ready and you show up, then you're not going to bring anything to the table. You're not going to bring anything to the table. So I see it as a place whereby because it's a place of growth. For you to be relevant, you're going to have to grow. For you to move to the next level, you have to grow. And so because the academy is a place of growth, you don't have a choice. It's a place where we challenge women to grow. That way, when in whatever sphere of influence you are called into, when you grow, you're able to step into the opportunities that are given to you.
Okay.
So it makes it easier for you.
Okay, thank you. So if you are in the academy, you are able to grow and exploit the potential that is in
that's within you.
All right, thank you. Before I go to the next question, I want to say thank you to everyone that is joining. I see that people are joining. Thank you, and please do well to put in the comment section where you're joining from and what time he said. My name is Olabode Hibitola, and it's 11:45 a.m. here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. I think it's 9:45
It's
a.m. in
9:45
BC.
on my side.
Okay, yeah. So
Interesting.
thank you. Thank you. And you can also do well to share this video to everyone around you. I'm hopeful that there would be something to learn today. All right. So this year's focus is breaking the bias, and it's a thing that before you can even start working on something, you have to know what you want to work on. Now we're talking about breaking the bias. Before we can start breaking the bias, what are the biases that we want to break? In your own opinion, what do you think are the biases that need to be broken?
Like I mentioned earlier, the first of all is the bias of who we are. I will almost say, if you don't even know who you are as a person, how would I put it? If you don't know who you are, you can't even get into that position of talking of breaking the bias. And that's why really you need to know who you are. So that when you're standing, because different conditions are going to come at you at different points in place. If you look at all these women that are in different spheres of influence, if they tell you the challenges that they face, you will be amazed at the things that they go through. You'll be surprised. But guess what? But because they have to have the mindset that, a mindset of a winner, that I'm stepping into this place, it doesn't matter what challenges come at me. So I believe as women, before we can start breaking the bias on the outside, we need to break the bias, telling ourselves, we have to, I'm looking for a perfect word to use. We have to know ourselves. We have to be confident in who we are. So that when we step into a place, you are a confident woman. It's only a confident woman that can break the bias. Exactly. It's only a woman that knows who she is that can break the bias. So it doesn't matter whether you've gone through things in the past, whether you've gone through abuse, you've gone through molestation, you've gone through, no matter what it is no matter what thing you've gone through, you've been stereotyped, whatever it is, you need to come to a place where you say, it doesn't matter what life has thrown at me, whatever challenges, I am going to be confident as a woman to show up. Because I always say that we were not created because we were like an afterthought. We were created because we were needed. So show up as a woman, be confident in who you are. So that when you even show up there, they're like, okay, so actually I was on a podcast recording with somebody yesterday. It was a group of ladies with a guy. We were recording this podcast for like International Women's Day edition. And the lady had an interesting experience that I should share. She went to a place in Abuja, Nigeria. She's an educator. So she was in a place with just men. So she was the only lady there. And she said, as they sat down to talk at the table, I think maybe there were about 6 or 7 of them sat at the table to talk. One of the guys said to her, "You're going to be the secretary." and she said to him, "No, I'm not being the secretary. I came here to be the chairperson." Why do I have to be the secretary?
Why didn't you say you can be the chairperson or the president? Why should it be the secretary?
You see the thing. So already they relegated her because you are the only woman here. You do the lowest of the jobs here. But because she was confident already, she knew who she was. She said, no, sorry, I'm not being the secretary. One of you can be the secretary. Exactly. I am going to be the chairperson. So she showed up confident. So I believe that's one thing so we need to develop that. So that before you start going outside, work on yourself. Develop the right mindset. If you've had a wrong mindset, throw it out and begin to just reprogram yourself and say, you know what, no matter what I might have gone through, it doesn't matter. Okay. I am needed, I am valuable, I am special, and I'm going to show up as a woman and I'm going to be the best at where I am. The second thing I believe we should do is that also as women, even against women, often women don't support women. So that's another bias that we don't really talk about, whereby women, sometimes even we ourselves against ourselves, forget the men now, even we against ourselves, whereby you bring women into a room and sometimes we fight even against ourselves. So sometimes even we need to do some, like the lady said, we need to do some housekeeping rules, whereby even women against women, we need to start to support ourselves. I was sharing on Tuesday, I did an IG live, and I was sharing that we need to begin to collaborate with one another. Gone are the days of whereby we used to compete, where women, we don't need to compete with one another. There is enough room for all of us. There is enough bread to go around. We just need to come into a place of collaboration, which means that if you are in the political team space, Find people in that same sphere as you and begin to collaborate with them. If you are in education, find people in the same sphere and look for ways that you can collaborate. If you are in the NGO space, find people. So we need to begin to work with each other without thinking that this person is going to, exactly. So we need to begin to work with one another, because I believe that would also help us when we ourselves as women begin to work together. Now we can work in a stronger way against breaking the bias.
Yes.
That's number 2. Number 3, I believe we were saying yesterday that it starts from the home. Parents need to get on this, whereby you have a child that is a boy, and I used my example yesterday. I was saying that I grew up with just one brother, and I remember in the kitchen my mom would say to me, come to the kitchen, and my brother would be there sitting down just watching TV, and he wasn't under any obligation to come to the kitchen. Why? Because he was a boy. Why? So when I started having children, luckily for me, I had 3 boys before I had my girl. So I told them, I remember I said that, sorry, I'm not going to be doing the dishes. There's no house girl in this house. We are all going to learn to do this work. So guess what? When my boys were as young as 5, they would do the toilet. I would put the stool for them. They would do dishes. They would vacuum. As young as 5, they learned to cook. I think my oldest, he's turning 19 this year. I think he's started frying egg maybe at the age of 8 or something, or 7 or one of them. I was intentional about it because I believe that if in the home we change the mindset that one role belongs to only the woman must cook, then the boys go out with that mindset that, oh, I don't have to do that. Exactly. Well, if we break it down, that, you know what, roles can be exchanged. If you even learn to cook when you get married, guess what? You can help your wife. Also, when you go off to college, you can. Who's going to be cooking for you? You're going to need to cook your own food. So at least be independent for yourself first. Then, when you eventually get to a place of marriage yourself, then you can help your wife. You won't just be a burden on the woman. So I believe even in the home, we need to begin to break that bias as well.
It's already leads to the next question that I was about to ask. How do you then break this bias? So we would say that the first thing or the first bias is being confident in yourself. Understand that you have to be confident in yourself. If you're able to do that, you have even broken the first bias. Then it leads to the other stages of biases. Okay, thank you. So you've even attended to the next question about how to break these biases. Start from the home. And I want to ask that, apart from in our own corner, apart from collaborating with other women, how do you think we can break this bias in the institutional levels? At the institutional levels.
And that was why I still came back. Okay, look at, for example. Okay. So I still would bring it back to it starting from the home, because like that guy that I mentioned with that lady, where did he get the idea that women are meant to? Where did they get the idea? Do you know where he must have gotten the idea? Growing up, that was the mindset that he was taught. That was the mindset that he cultivated. And so I believe, and that's why I mentioned the home, because when you start from the home, as we begin to change the narrative in the home, the boys go out with, you can teach them other things that when they are in school, they can, even from like teachers, can begin to teach boys. No, I remember that in school, when we did home economics, so boys can learn to cook, girls can learn to cook. So sometimes even in the little things, them teaching in preschool, they can teach them these things. It doesn't have to be a woman's thing to do this. It doesn't have to be a man's thing to do that. And even in those little, that they seem little, but it's changing the narrative that there are some things, it doesn't have to be a particular gender that has to do a particular thing. So that as we grow older, we don't go into the workplace thinking men are only meant to be CEOs, women are meant to be at home. If you are called to be a homemaker, that is awesome. But if you are not called to be a homemaker, if you are called to be a career woman, please go for it. But when we begin to break it from the home, whereby we are changing the mindsets of our children as we grow, it's almost like the prison issue. If you look at a lot of children that go into prison, it all starts from the home. Like, then it goes into society, and that's how it goes on. And then into the institutions, goes into government. So it all will start from, so if everybody is playing their own little part, their own little corner, Guess what? I'm playing my little part. You are playing your little part.
Yeah.
Everybody on this show, Adenike is playing her little part. Oladapo is playing his own little part. Guess what's going to happen? In the society, you're going to see the difference.
Exactly.
In the government, you're going to see the difference. Can you see what I mean? So if everybody is playing their part of doing their own little part in every area, every sphere, it then goes on into society, it then gets better.
Thank you. Thank you. So it all starts with everyone in your own little corner. I remember that it's even a society thing that you see that it's women. You want to apply for a job, a secretarial job, they tell you that it's ladies. Receptionist.
Who said you have to be
ladies? This, but if it's the manager, you see male managers, male this, male. I'm like, why now? Can't women also be the managers? But I think this it's already happening now. Like we said, breaking the barriers. I see male nurses now. I see male personal assistants now, and things like that. Things are beginning to change. Thank you. Now,
so we must encourage our girls that don't look at this job as it's only meant for a man to do. If you feel like you have the passion to do that job, please do it. If you feel like you have passion to start this business, even though it might be male dominated, now we are having women in engineering, we are having women in building, we are having. So if you feel like that is what you're called to, don't just think that it has to be a particular gender that dominates. Go ahead and do it if that's your passion.
Like, let me bring you back to my own thing. My Bible said that I don't want pink. It's meant for girls. And the girl too, any little pink like this.
Any little blue she doesn't want.
Yes, like that. And it's something that we are working on, especially with that today. There's no pink for girls, blue for boys. Everybody take what you have, take what is available. No pink, no blue. Yeah. Thank you so much for that interesting and enlightening belief. Okay, so now let's come to your own personal life. I'm aware your first son, you mentioned in the last report, you wrote a book titled My Victory Over Cancer, an 8-year-old's journey of faith. And I want to ask, how was the experience for him? And I want to bring it to you, to being a mother. I know how overwhelming it can be to take care of a sick person or a child that is very dependent on you. How was the experience for you?
Thanks. You know, whenever people ask me, I always just laugh, because if you ask me how the experience was, I can't really tell you right now, like how it was, because truly, God knows, we didn't even know how we were going day to day. It was a day-to-day thing. Like, it was not, you couldn't plan ahead like that. We're just going day to day. I think it was just God's grace that just carried us through that season. It was just day to day, because there was just so much going on. It was really overwhelming. You don't know, you think you have overcome one challenge, and it just come and tell you something else. Oh, now this has happened. Oh, now this something affected his heart. This has affected his lungs. They just always have something. So it really was a day-to-day thing that you just have to just trust God to give you strength from one day to another. Really, that was how the journey was.
So it was just a thing. And so let me put it this way now. Now, taking the aspect of faith, we understand that faith and God have a place in this journey.
Yeah.
Now, as humans, yourself, how was it? How was the journey? How was it? I believe that someone may be watching, someone who is watching could have a critical health condition like that, or someone who will be watching later. I want to say that how exactly, because the purpose of this show is to learn from people who have been in a particular situation, so that they can be inspired that if this person can come out of it, I too can. I think I have hope of coming out of it. So apart from the place of God and faith, what was the experience itself like? The situation of you mentioned today we talk about the heart, tomorrow we talk about the lungs and things like that. How did you feel? Was there a time you just wanted to cry, you just wanted to break down?
Oh, a lot of times. All the time. Actually, some of the time I'll be driving from here going to the hospital, and I'll be just crying because you don't know where you're going to get there. You're going to hear something else. You don't know what else you're going to expect. So it was just that. I was, it was really overwhelming. It was just, and I don't even know how we would have actually gone through that experience if God had not helped us. We would not have, because it was just like too much.
Mm.
It was so tiring. It was draining. It was tiring. It was a lot. The whole experience,
Okay.
both for
Okay.
us and for him.
It's even too much for you to describe how you felt at that time.
I almost want to say, you know how it is when someone is having a baby. When somebody has a baby, you are trying to describe how it is, but people don't really.
think you
Someone has
can.
not had a baby before, they can't really understand because you are trying to describe it, but they're like, okay. It's almost like that.
Pain.
Whereby until it was almost like when you're going through that challenge, you feel like, how are we going to come out of this? It felt like there was no light at the end of the tunnel. At one point in time, like almost feel like there's no hope. But thank God that God gave hope, and at the end of it, everything was good. But the journey, but you know what I always bring out of that story is that as much as we went through it, because of the grace of God, the process of what we went through, I can never forget that what happened during that process, because we grew. We each grew in that experience because we didn't have a choice but to grow. Our faith in God was deepened. My faith, my husband's faith, I think my other children, him in particular, was he just grew because there was no other thing to do. And so the thing with crisis is that you can either look at it, you have to either go through it thinking what is the process that's going to come out of this, and I can learn and I can hold on to, and I can show somebody else as I come through, or you're going to be bitter. So it's your choice to say, am I going to be bitter from this experience? Because that was one thing I remember I used to pray, and I said, God, don't let this boy come out bitter out of this experience. Because he was so young, he was only 8, and I used to just pray for that. And thank God he came out from that experience grown, mature, because of the things that he has gone through.
Thank you. We shouldn't let the experience make us bitter. We should always look out for what we can learn from the situation. Thank you so much. And I want to ask that there was one of your writings about the same situation, the same experience. You said that the doctor's report was that he wouldn't even go taller than 5.6. And here he is over 6 feet now. You can imagine. So I understand if you are not able to even describe your joy about this journey and this situation. But I want to ask that at what point did this miracle, let me call it, if we can call it miracle, at what point did it happen? How did the victory come about? Would you like to share with us?
I think it was almost from the beginning, because when we knew all of this was going on, as much as I remember I said to them in the hospital, I said to them at the time, you know what, you do your best, your doctors, you do all your call to do. We are going to go back to this voice manufacturer, and this voice manufacturer is going to make it whole. It's going to reset into factory setting. Actually, that was what I said, which is almost like a phone. So that was our belief. So I believe that when you're going through a time of crisis, your belief, what you believe is so important, because what you believe is going to dictate the outcome of the experience. It often dictates it. So even if you see doom and you see gloom, you have to just say, you know what, I might see doom right now, but I'm not going to focus on what I see. I'm going to choose to believe the best. I'm going to choose to believe that God can turn this around. That was what actually brought the victory, because in the midst of all the things that he went, in the midst of this issue, he went through a period whereby he went into ICU, he went into coma, we almost lost him, all of this. There was so much that went on. But our belief was still, God is going to bring him out. He's not going to die. We held on to it so much. We were just trusting God. So what you believe is so important when we are going through. Because the doctors tried to sell fear to us, but we refused. I kept saying no. In fact, they told people that they should be watching us, that we are in denial of what was going on. They told them to be watching us, because we knew, we just held on to that belief that no, God is going to heal this boy. We don't know how, but we just believed God. So what you believe is so important, because your belief is going to help you to hold on as you go through that challenge. The days of crying, like I said, I will be driving from my house to the hospital an hour away, and I'll be just crying in the car and just saying, God, when is this going to end? When are we going to get to the end of this? I don't know how this is going to end. But guess what? In the going through, the belief was just there that no, we're not going to give up. we're not going to give up, and we refuse to give up right to the end.
Good.
And so I believe the victory happened in the midst of not giving up.
Mm-hmm.
In the midst of not giving up, because our belief was just there, solid, holding on to God's word.
Thank you so much for that. I'm trying to look through the comment section if there's any question or any contribution.
Jayola says something.
Okay.
Thank you, Coach Olabode, for that question. God's grace suffices in all situations. Nonetheless, we need to learn or understand people's disposition during the challenging time. Yes, we do.
Exactly. Yeah. So we know the place of God, and how about the place of human? And you mentioned it. That's our own mindset. That's what I tell people, that if you are going through a particular situation and you believe you're going to be whole, you believe that it's all about the mindset. Even though at the end of that journey or that situation, it didn't come out the way you really want it to be, you won't be that bitter or that fallen. You won't remain on the ground, because it's your mindset. Okay, if this didn't come out the way I want it to be, maybe I've learned a lesson from it. Yeah. Maybe I just there's something I needed to look out for. There was something I was not really doing the way I was supposed to do. It won't be that will remain permanently on the ground. Unlike someone who was already broken even before the failure comes. The person will just give up at the slight of any discouraging moments. Thank you so much, Mo, for that inspiring time. So I want to ask now your piece of advice for someone who may be going through that. You've mentioned something about mindset. What is another thing that you think kept you going apart from that? You've mentioned the place of God. You've mentioned your own mindset, your belief. Are there other things? Can we say support, human support?
I was going to say that. Family? Don't isolate yourself. Don't isolate yourself, because for us, support was so big. We had people all around us. People were always inquiring. People were always, I would walk, like I'll go back. Somebody would hold my hand and say, it's going to be all right. We're praying for you. We're holding, we're trusting. The support was phenomenal, because that support also fills you with hope. When you think, this is, some days you're just so down, somebody will just come around and just begin to encourage you. So surround yourself with people that are going to encourage you. Don't look for, if you find people around, in fact, I remember that we used to shut out people that would just say negative things. We would just shut them out. I wouldn't even allow them, because I could not entertain any form of negativity at all. We did not need it. So we shut them out. So surround yourself with people that would lift you up, that would encourage you, that would help you. So don't, because often when we are going through challenging times, we tend to first shut people out. Because you just want to deal with it by yourself. But I find that don't isolate yourself. But people want to help you genuinely, and so let them help you. Let them help you with, sometimes it might be with maybe childcare. For example, in my situation, because we had other children, so it might be they just want to help you with like everyday things that they can do. Any little help here and there. Just let people just be. Let them know how people just want to listen to you. Let them just do whatever help they want to render. Don't isolate yourself, so that when you're down, you can have somebody to hold your hand and say, don't worry, you're going to be fine. You're going to come out of this.
Thank you so much. So if you're going through a particular situation, know that the place of human support cannot be overemphasized. We all need humans. We all need each other to get going. And the good thing is that just know who you are trying to relent on. Know who you are holding on to, or know who you are depending on. I think that's a good thing to also note. All right, thank you so much. But I think we've come to the end of this time. I'm beginning to be so mindful of time, not wanting it to be too long. But I want to ask this question. Despite your busy schedule, family, kids, ministry engagement, personal engagement, the academy, all every other thing. And how have you been able to inculcate self-care into your schedule? Because I'm someone who is so passionate about self-care, especially as a woman. Because we always look out for everybody. My son, my husband, my family, my this and that. But leave our own selves and everything. So how have you been able to inculcate self-care into your schedule. Let other women hear it. Because if you don't have self-care, I don't think you can be. If you don't have self-care, we can't still be successful. We'll fall by the wayside. So
I believe as women, sometimes we have to be selfish. I'm going to use that word. You know why? You said something. You said because truly women, we are everything to everybody. I'm mom, I'm sister, I'm wife, I'm chauffeur, I'm everything. We are always everything, but we forget to take care of us.
take care of
So
yourself.
sometimes I always believe that you need to just pull away from everything and say, what about me? And I think two good things help me to be able to do that. One of them is looking for things that help me to laugh and just release the adrenaline, just let the adrenaline out, just release it. So I always say, look for something that you love to do, something that reminds you of how to be. Sometimes even just feel like you're like a little child again and just relax it. Something that helps you to relax. For me, it will be dancing. Like sometimes in the house, I'm in the kitchen, I might just put on music and you just see me and my daughter will just be dancing and the boys will be like, they just be sometimes they're shaking their head. Sometimes it's just me and then my daughter will just join me and then we'll be doing silly faces. You know what? Find a way. As women, we need to declutter our minds. And so we need to find what works for you. You might say, oh, and I always say, you don't even need money often to even do this thing. Sometimes it's just going for a walk. Sometimes I love to go for walks for myself. Just to declutter my mind when it's so busy. Because sometimes there's so much, there's work, there's so much going on. So I just need to declutter. So I just go for a walk for myself. Just get some fresh air in. So women, and I tell people, I say, even when you have small children, some people say, boy, my children are little, I can't leave them. Hello, do you have a bathroom? Go in the bathroom. Even though when I was children, that's what I used to do. I'll go in the bathroom, lock the door, 5 minutes. Mommy time. Mommy, I won't answer. When you're tired, you go. Mommy is pushing me. I won't answer. I just need that 5 minutes away just shut everything. So whatever you need to do, something. Or another thing that helps, I find is find that time to just reflect. 5-10 minutes in a day. Just sit by yourself, just reflect, just even not doing anything. But I believe that as women, self-care is, I always say you have to be intentional about self-care. If you're not intentional about it, it will not happen.
It will not happen.
So plan it. I put it in my schedule. Plan it in your schedule. For me, sometimes I'll go and jump on the trampoline. I love to jump on the trampoline because it helps me to relax. So find something that you love to do and plan for it, or else it won't get done. I always say whatever doesn't get scheduled doesn't get done. So right here, my 15 minutes for me, I'm gonna be selfish about it. Maybe 3 times a week I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go and do my nails once a month. For those that like to do their nails, I'm gonna do my spa treatment once in 3 months. We need to plan for these things, or else they will not get done. Women, let's take care of us. When we take care of us, we are able to take care of others. But if we don't take care of us, it's easy for us to break down. And when you break down, you start to get cranky, so we do so much. So we must be intentional about being selfish about us. Yes. So a woman listening, please put it on your schedule. My self-care plan. Put it down. Once a month, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to, do my nails. I'm going to go pamper myself. Once in 3 months, I'm going to go to the spa. You only have one life. Please enjoy it.
Enjoy this moment.
One life. Let's enjoy it.
All right. Thank you so much, women listening out there. We have to be intentional about self-care. We can only say it, I want to do it, but you have to be intentional. You have to plan it. If not, we'll just continue to say it and it will never happen. Thank you so much. Now, this is the end. I want to ask if there's any parting word you want to give to our audience before we leave this conversation.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I should say that first. So for everyone that says thank you for joining us, my parting word will really just be, women, you don't have to be somebody else, to show up in whatever sphere you're in. You just have to be your authentic you. So just be yourself. You have, like I mentioned earlier, you have one life. Take time to enjoy yourself, enjoy your life. That's going to be my word. As women, enjoy your life and learn to celebrate other women. Let's learn to celebrate ourselves.
That's it for me.
Let's learn to celebrate other women. You see somebody doing something good, rejoice with them. Yours will come. Celebrate them. the more we appreciate other people, the more we also get appreciated. There is a cycle, it goes around. So let's celebrate one another.
Exactly. Thank you so much for that parting word. I so much love that one. Celebrate other people, celebrate other women. It may not be your time now, but it will definitely come to you. Life is a cycle. We can go on and on, but we have to stop here because of time. Because of time and other engagement. Thank you so much, and I'm sure our viewers got value for this for the time spent here. For me, I enjoyed this, and I think I've gained more understanding and knowledge about some things as well. So thank you so much, Mrs. Olabode, and we hope to see you again very, very soon. I'm sure you would answer when we will answer when we call. Thank you. Thank you also
Thank you
to our
so much for having
viewers.
me.
You're welcome.
Okay.
So
Bye,
our viewers, we
everyone.
say thank you too, and hope to see you in the next edition of Between You and Me. If you have any question, put in the comment section. Ms. Olabode will attend to it, and if it's anyone that relates to me as well, I'm going to attend to it. Put your question in the comment section. Please share this video, react, put your thoughts, put your feedback, and we'll be glad you do so. Thank you. Till I come your
Bye,
way.
everyone. Thanks for having me. Bye.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you here. My name is Olabode Ibitola. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And don't forget to keep breaking the bias.